I'm Chris Fox, and this is the Bourbonite. So you maybe have seen some buzz around the internet about Matthew McConaughey and Wild Turkey. Well, they got a little crazy, and Matthew McConaughey and Wild Turkey made a special edition, I guess. I don't know if you call it, whatever. I don't know what it's called, but it's a Wild Turkey bourbon that's made with partnership with Matthew McConaughey, and it's called Long Branch. Now, what's interesting about this stuff is they're working to kind of mix the Kentucky of Wild Turkey and the Texas of Matthew McConaughey.
As a lover of bourbon, I secretly have always wanted to create my favorite bourbon. Eddie Russell and I have been putting together notes, ideas, taste tests, etc., to create just that bourbon that I'm talking about. It's called Long Branch. And what does Long Branch mean? Well, in its simplest form, it means the extension of a hand, an invitation, a welcome.
I'm a big fan of Matthew McConaughey, and I'm a big fan of Wild Turkey, so I guess I bought into the hype, you could say, and I decided to pick this stuff up. It's not that expensive. I think I paid $30 for it, something like that. We'll give it a try and see if it's worth it, but $30 for a bottle of bourbon, I'm used to paying $50, $60 for the good stuff, so this was worth a spin, and yeah. So what's with all the celebrities in bourbon? I mean, these days you might say that they're hopping on the bandwagon. I'm not really sure. I think Bob Dylan just came out with a whiskey as well. I'm a little saddened by it because I'm one of those people who I see something in the popular mainstream and I bail, or at least I try to bail, unless I'm really attached to it. I'm really attached to it. Generally, when stuff starts to hit the mainstream or get real popular, what ends up happening is, you know, celebrities jump on board, a bunch of people start trying this stuff, and then what ends up happening is it gets so popular that it ends up getting to be terrible. People start hawking awful stuff. What's nice about bourbon is that, you know, bourbon is required to have certain stipulations to be called bourbon. It's not just whiskey, it's bourbon, right? And what's cool about that is there are, I guess, maybe not, I don't know if I'd call them standards, but those rules almost dictate standards, which I'm okay with. It helps keep what we're enjoying a little more pure and a little more in the crosshairs, I guess you might say. So Matthew McConaughey and bourbon. Now, what I like about this versus the Bob Dylan stuff is Bob Dylan was just kind of out of left field. Here you go, here's a bourbon. And I don't even know if it was bourbon, maybe it was just whiskey. But what I like about Matthew McConaughey is it popped up that he was doing some marketing efforts with Wild Turkey a few years ago. And that's what caught my attention. Because I thought, back then, God, here it comes. He's just going to slap his name on something and it's going to be a bourbon. But instead, what they did is they actually worked together to combine, what do they call it? They said, yeah. So instead, what they actually tried to do was combine the bourbon oak and the Texas mesquite. And that's what I really dig about this whole thing, is that, well, he is just a celebrity endorser, and maybe he just jumped on the bandwagon because it was a popular thing. I don't know. I can't read into the guy's mind. But what I do know is that the stuff that he's been putting out promotionally really kind of, it strikes a chord. He's interested in the kind of stuff we're interested in. If you're interested in what I'm doing here, he's been doing that sort of thing for a little while now. He's been delving into the culture. He's been delving into what's behind this stuff and what it takes to make it. And he's been, like, on site, apparently, helping the Wild Turkey folks figure out how to make a bourbon his. from my perspective, it's much more than just a celebrity endorsement. You know, if you don't like Matthew McConaughey, you don't like Texas, or you don't like Wild Turkey, I mean, it's not for you. But if you like any one of those things, I mean, I think it's worth a try. I think it's worth giving it a spin. Now, if you want to see me actually try this stuff and give my 2 cents on it, go over to the Patreon page and support me there. I'll give you my 2 bits, but what I will tell you is there is definitely that, it definitely has that Texas feel to it. And I'm a big fan of different Texas bourbons. For instance, I was a huge fan of the Balcones. Is that how you say that? Balcones whiskey. I think that's out of somewhere near Austin in Texas. And that stuff was amazing, but it's very, very different. And that's what I like about something like this, is it's really mashing the world of Kentucky and Texas together. And that's not just a label thing. As soon as I opened the bottle, I could tell there's a difference. And that's interesting. That's what we're here for, right? Weird stuff that we don't necessarily have before. If you like Matthew McConaughey, try it. If you like bourbon, it's worth a try. If you like Wild Turkey, definitely give it a try, because the turkey feel is there. The turkey flavor is there. But it's unique. I would probably price it a little more than $30. So, you know, maybe they got some more sitting in a cask somewhere. It's worth a look. It's worth a try. $30, I say go for it. So if you like what you've seen, hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and head on over to the Patreon page if you want to hear what I really think about some of this stuff. And, well, here's to plenty more, I guess, celebrity bourbons and trying new stuff in the future. I'm Chris Fox.
And am I recording? I am.
And I'm yeah. So if you like what you've seen, hit that subscribe button.